A courtroom bombshell left Diddy visibly rattled. His attorney was caught off guard by the footage that would alter everything. The room went deathly silent, with the judge struggling to comprehend the prosecution's words. Diddy's face lost all color, and his legal team hurriedly whispered among themselves, realizing there was no turning back. When the prosecution revealed they had video evidence involving a teenage Justin Bieber, the entire atmosphere in the courtroom shifted dramatically.
We are going to get started with something that Diddy and his lawyers knew was coming down the pike eventually, and now it has happened. A new indictment, it's called a superseding indictment, really replaces the original one that the federal prosecutors had filed against him. And the big headline here is that now they are saying there are 2 more victims.
This wasn't just another lawsuit or allegation. This was something entirely different. For the first time, the man who had built an empire on confidence, power, and untouchability looked genuinely afraid. Diddy Combs reportedly sought medical treatment at a hospital as he continues to face trial on 6 trafficking charges. According to Page 6, the 55-year-old was transferred from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where he had been held after his September arrest, to undergo an MRI on January 30th before being returned to police custody later that evening. But to truly grasp the significance of this moment, you need to understand the tangled mess of chaos that led to it. Diddy Combs, once the undisputed king of hip-hop, is now fighting for his legacy, his freedom, and possibly his entire empire. Multiple lawsuits, federal charges. The stakes have never been higher.
In the meantime, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of rape, this guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Buzbee, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial inaccuracies, and that there was a failure to properly investigate before filing. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity at a home after the Video Music Awards in 2000. She says she was just 13 years old when this happened. And weeks after the initial filing, Buzbee submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated
so
in this assault.
That even his most loyal allies are pulling away at an alarming rate. And smack in the middle of it all, Justin Bieber.
Those claims. Anyways, I want to also just show you this montage. This is a montage that was shared by Evie Magazine. They do great work on their TikTok of Justin Bieber, again, just 15 years old, in Hollywood, surrounded by a bunch of adults. And you let me know if any of this registers to you as normal.
Over the young pop star, but after Diddy's September arrest, fans began connecting the dots. Why was Bieber always by his side as a kid? Why did Diddy talk about their time together like it was some hidden rite of passage? Then came the resurfaced footage. A clip from 2009 began circulating online, showing Diddy proudly bragging about spending 48 hours with 15-year-old Bieber. What we're doing, we can't really disclose, Diddy says, grinning at the camera. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. Bieber, sitting next to him, plays along. Let's just go get some girls.
Justin Bieber turned 15, and it suddenly seemed that Hollywood was keen to almost initiate him. I think that's the right word. Like there was almost like this initiation that he needed to go through. So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the time of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I had been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship.
At the time, it
Next
appeared to
48
be
hours,
nothing more than a
he's with
strange
me.
interaction between a powerful
Yeah,
music
we
mogul
gonna
and his
go
young protege. But after the
full
allegations
crazy.
against Diddy erupted, that clip began to take on a much darker, more sinister tone.
So young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun, now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did to Usher. A lot of this coming out via multiple lawsuits that essentially, if we were to put it in a nice context, or at least use a euphemism for something that's really disgusting, the allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher into Hollywood. And as we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs the question, who allowed Justin
Then
Bieber
the
to be in the
unthinkable
presence of
occurred
this
inside
man,
the
knowing
courtroom.
what he
A
was up to,
prosecution attorney
allegedly
presented a video,
up to. That
a
seems to be
piece
very
of evidence
clear,
so crucial that
there
Diddy's
is
legal
some
team
veracity to
immediately
those claims.
objected. But it was too late. The judge overruled them and allowed it.
Now, the defense wanted copies of these videos handed over to them. Not just the ability to view them at, like, prosecution's office. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. And I've talked to lawyers about this before. There's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence yourself, right? You don't have to always go over to the other office. You can view the materials on your own. It's a way to better prepare for your defense. And Sean Combs' lawyers argue that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, if the defendant asks for it, the government has to give a defendant the opportunity to inspect and to copy electronic data that is in the government's possession. Judge Subramanian denied the defense's motion to amend the protective order, but without prejudice, meaning this issue could be revisited. So Subramanian's order reads, quote, "While the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for a defendant to consider that
For
would
years,
permit the
Bieber
defense
has
to
avoided
view the
questions
videos,
about his early
access
career,
the
his
information they're
mentors,
looking for,
and the industry
and
figures
even
who
allow
shaped
them to
him.
manipulate
But ever
the
since
videos
Diddy's
as they
legal
see
troubles
fit.
started, Bieber has been making subtle moves that hint he's slowly distancing himself from his past.
Justin Bieber's got more on his mind than Diddy's arrest. A source telling ET the new dad's energy is going towards wife Hailey and son Jack. And he's not focused on what is going on with Diddy or the allegations against him.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs.
The insider info coming after footage of Diddy and Justin resurfaced on social media. Videos show the disgraced media
First,
mogul
he unfollowed
alongside
Usher.
teenage
It
Justin,
seemed like a
with
small
online
gesture,
sleuths
but
speculating
considering
if
Usher
at the
was
time,
the one who
he
introduced him to
subjected the pop
Diddy,
star to
it
his
raised
alleged
eyebrows.
freak-off.
Then he severed ties with Scooter Braun, his longtime manager, and the person who was supposed to protect him in the industry.
Okay, Justin was signed when he was just 13 years old, and I should mention he was signed by Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor. Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to unfollow Usher, okay, his original mentor. So this is a very big story, and the reason
On
why we should
Saturday,
discuss this and we should
January
not
4th,
diminish what
fans
is
noticed that
happening.
Justin and
It's not
controversial
celebrity
manager
drama. This is
Scooter Braun had
actually the
stopped
fall
following
of
each other.
Babylon that
It
we
was soon
are
confirmed
witnessing,
that
Hollywood
Justin
Babylon
had
that
blocked
is.
Scooter, as his name was removed from any tagged photos, and Scooter's likes on Justin's photos vanished, along with the tags. Keep in mind, Scooter had just liked one of Justin's posts a week before. But Justin wasn't the only one who blocked Scooter. Hailey joined in too, and fans quickly noticed she had also blocked him. Then came the resurfaced interviews. Bieber opened up about the struggles of being young in Hollywood, the people who let him down, the trauma he's still working through, And that viral moment where he, visibly emotional, spoke about wanting to protect young stars like Billie Eilish from the horrors of the industry. Suddenly, that clip carried a whole new weight.
He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry.
Diddy's
and sort
legal
of out of
trouble
nowhere,
started with a
he
single
became
accusation.
quite overcome
An
with
aspiring
emotion. Take a
musician, John Doe, alleged that Diddy drugged and assaulted him at a 2015 afterparty. But that was only the beginning.
And while disgraced movie mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been slammed with another lawsuit. An unnamed person has accused the music mogul of drugging and assaulting him. As per a lawsuit which allegedly took place in 2015, prosecutors and the lawyer representing the alleged victims in the case have been behind a substantial number of suits brought against Combs over the past year, including one that named Jay-Z as an additional defendant. The new lawsuit says that in 2015, the unnamed male person had approached Combs with the aspirations of becoming a rapper and singer. The 23-year-old was scheduled to open for a popular music artist at a series of Los Angeles nightclubs. Prior to his performance, he was informed that Combs would be in attendance, and should the performance go well, Combs would consider signing him to Bad Boy Records. The lawsuit further stated that later that night he attended an after-party where there were other well-known entertainers who were taking in drugs. Now, one of Combs' associates handed him a drink which he later realized was drugged. The unnamed person has further claimed that during his unconscious state, Diddy Combs had engaged in unconsented sexual activities. Meanwhile, in a statement provided to media, Combs' attorneys say, and I'm quoting here, "As we've said before, Mr. Combs cannot respond to every new publicity stunt, even in response to claims that are facially ridiculous.